Okay, question 6. There is a connection between the length of a person's forearm and their height. This connection is shown on the conversion graph. Here, let's use lines to understand this. Now, this is the conversion graph. We're going to use it to answer questions. Here we have question A. Archaeologists discover an incomplete skeleton with a forearm length of 23 centimeters. Estimate the height of the complete skeleton. It means the forearm length here, they found it 23 centimeters. So we're going to find 23 centimeters. So basically 23 centimeters is going to be here. Yes, 23. Yeah. We're going to take a line from here and we'll go up until we will stop at the line here. And then we're going to go from here back to this line. Tamam? Back to this line here, almost here. Tamam? Now, we're going to estimate the height, which is here. This is the height. So basically, the height may be 162 or 163, okay? So this is the answer for the first one. Maybe 163 or 162. Maybe something like this, okay? This is the first question. Question A, 162 or 163. Now, question B, Wayne thinks a forearm with length of 18 centimeter came from a skeleton of height of 180 centimeters. Is this likely? So we're going to compare these. If they are the same, it means we're going to say, yes, it is good. If it's not, we're going to talk about it, okay? So let's check. So he says that, let's take a line. I'm going to make it red this time. So 18 centimeters forearm. So it's here. Tamam? We're going to find out what's the length or what's the height of the skeleton. So we're going to come here. I'm going to stop here. And then we're going to go from here. Here. So it's basically 130 something. Yes. So it's over here. So this is 120. This is 130, which is in the middle between them. So let's come here. This is 130. Maybe this is 130. Here we have 134, maybe. Yeah, something like 134. Okay. So let's say it's 134. So the height that we have is 134. And he said what? He said that the height that we're talking about is 180 centimeters. So is it likely? It's not. So we're going to say, no, it's not likely. No, it's not likely. Because what? Because we found out that 18 centimeter forearm came out of a skeleton with 134 centimeter height. So it's not likely. That's the idea of question 6. I hope you understood it. It's easy. It's just the idea of reading conversion graphs. That's it. Now let's move on to the next ones. They're all drawing. That's question 6. Let's move on. That's it for this page. Let's move on to the next page. So here, 5-star questions, revision. We have question 1 here. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is 55 meters high, and the gradient of its lean is 11. By how many meters does the top overhang the bottom? Okay, so same idea. It's a triangle, and we're trying to find what? We already know the height, which is the rise, and we know the gradient. So we need to know the run. That's the idea. So basically, we're drawing a triangle. For example, this is the triangle. It's going to be like this. This is the leaning part. This is the height. And okay, here, sorry. So basically, we're drawing a triangle. We know the gradient. The gradient is 11. So this one will be 11. M equals 11. Okay. And we know the rise. The rise is 55, which is the height. We need to know what's the run. Okay. We need to know what's the run. So let's make this, make these white so we can see them. Make it white. Make this white. Okay. Make it white so we can see it. So the gradient here, even this one can see it, even if it's white. Let's make it black. So the gradient is 11. The height is 55. We are looking for what? We are looking for the run, which is here. So what do we say? We say gradient or M equals rise over run. Same idea. So we're going to say it here. So gradient M equals rise over run. Rise over run. This is the equation or the formula that we're going to use. So let's use it. We already know the rise, which is 55, and we know the gradient. So we're going to use it. So gradient, which is 11, equals rise, which is 55 here, over the run that we don't know. So it's going to be R. تمام هنخليه R نشتغلوا به. And then هناخده R to the other side because it's divided. We're going to take it to the other side by multiplying. So it's going to be 11 times R, or R times 11 equals 55. تمام? And then the 11 is multiplied. The 11 is multiplied. So I'm going to take it to this side by dividing. So it's going to be 55 over 11. And because I took it, I'm going to remove it from here. So it's going to be 55 over 11. تمام? So R equals 55 over 11. So R equals 5. تمام? So the answer for question 1, the overhang is going to be 5 meters. And this is question 1. I hope you understood the idea. Let's move on to the next one. Question 2, show that joining the points A, B, C, and D makes a trapezium. Makes what? Makes a trapezium. So let's take a look at how we answer this question. First, let's go down. Let's make it here. Let's zoom in. Let's cover this. Make it white. Okay. Question 2, right? Okay. So we're gonna explain if these points can make a trapezium when you join them. So let's do it here, okay? First, we need to understand the shape or the meaning of trapezium. Now, let me do it like this. Let's use red. Okay. A trapezium looks like this, okay? Let's say like this. Like this. Like this. Now, let's say that these points A, B, C, D, like this, A, okay, B, A, B, C, D, okay? Now, we want to make sure that these points make a trapezium. What method should we use, okay? Let me pause this. So now, to prove that this is a trapezium, I'm going to find the gradient of AD and the gradient of BC. If they are the same, it means this is a trapezium, okay? It means the lines are parallel. It means this is a trapezium. Now, first, I'm going to work with AD. I'm going to find the gradient of AD. AD, the points of AD are here. عندي هذه A وعندي هذه D. So I'm going to work with these 2 points. The formula that I'm going to use is this one. M equals difference of y's over difference of x's. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? This is the rule that I'm going to use. تمام. طب نحفظها هذه لأنها مهمة. Use it in points. لما يجي عندي points زي هذينا or coordinates I'm going to use it. تمام. Good. I'm going to do AD first and then BC. So I'm going to use this space here. I'm going to use this for these 2 points. I'm going to split it into 2. I'm going to do AD here. Now, before I start, as we said before, this is the X and this is the Y. It means one of them will be X1 and the other one will be Y1. تمام. ما ينفعش X1 Y1 معناها the other one is going to be X2 Y2. X2 Y2. تمام. And then I'm going to use the method or the formula with these, okay? Now, let's start here. So the gradient will equal y2 minus y1 and the y2 here negative 3. I'm going to do it here, negative 3 minus from the formula y1 which is 2 and then over x2 minus x1. So x2 here 1 minus x1 which is minus 5 like this. So I have to write all the minuses and the minuses in the formula. Now I'm going to find this here. So negative 3, negative 2 is going to be what? It's going to be negative 5. Negative 5. And then here 1 minus minus 5. Minus 5 minus means plus. So 1 plus 5 is going to be 6. So this is 6. So it's going to be minus 5 over 6. Minus 5 over 6. This is the gradient of A and D. So the gradient of A and D is minus 5 over 6. I'm going to make a box like this. So we understand that this is minus 5 over 6. So I'm going to write it here. So we understand that this is minus 5 over 6. تمام?
Do we write it as decimal or do you want
Yeah,
a
it's a
decimal
gradient.
fraction?
It's okay. Decimal fraction, it's okay. Because you need to make sure that this one is the same as this one. That's it. If you find this as fraction, make this as fraction. Same idea. Now I'm going to do the same and I'm going to find the gradient of BC. BC. I'm going to use the same things here. So let's move them here. هتجد هذه x1 y1 وهتجد هذه x2 y2. Okay. So I'm going to use it for these points. You get the idea? Same idea. تمام? Now, same idea. I'm going to use the formula here and I'm going to use this. So y2, I'm going to do the same, m equals, and the y2 minus y1. Y2 is here, it's minus 0.5. So it's going to be like this, minus 0.5, okay? Minus y1, minus y1. So minus this one. Y1 is 5, so minus 5, okay? Sorry. So y2, it's minus 0.5. And y1 is 5, so minus 5. Yes. Now I'm going to do the x's. Same idea. Over x2, which is 5.6. 5.6. Minus x1, which is minus 1. Minus 1. And as I said, you're going to use this minus and then the minus in the point. Tamam? So I'm using it with C and B now. I did AD, now I'm doing BC. Tamam? So this one here, I'm going to do the same idea. I'm going to add them together and check if I have the same gradient. This one's going to be like this. Now, let's check. So, minus 5 minus 5. So, it's going to be minus 5.5, right? Because they have the same sign, and I'm going to add them. Over 5.6 minus minus 1. So, it means 5.6 plus 1. So, 5.6 plus 1 is going to be 6.6. So 6.6 like this. And I make a line like this. over 5. 5.5 divided 6.6. Okay. And then 5 divided 6. 5 divided 6. Yes. Now I got this minus 5.5 over 6 over 0.6. I'm going to write it here. Minus 5.5 over 6.6. Okay. Now this is the second fraction. Now I want to make sure that they are the same. I'm going to turn them into decimals. I'll turn this into a decimal. So minus 5 over 6 minus 5 divided 6 is going to be negative 0.83. So negative equals negative 0.83, and the 3 is recurring. It means it has a line on top of it like this. Okay. Same idea. I'm going to turn this into decimals. So this one will be negative 5.5 divide 6.6. And the answer will be 0. Same idea. Sorry. Negative 0.83. And the 3 is recurring, or a recurring decimal. So it's going to have the same idea, a line on top of it like this. So I noticed what? I noticed that both of them have what? They have the same gradient. They have the same gradient. So this gradient and this gradient is the same. It means these two lines are parallel. And if they are parallel, it means it is a trapezium. And we showed that they are making a trapezium. And this is how you answer a question like this, okay? Now, let me ask you this. So now we're going to do question 3. It has the same idea. We're going to work with the gradient. Here, let's cover this. Question 3, find B such that the line from the origin to 3.4B is parallel to the line from the origin to B and 3. Now, what's the meaning of origin? The origin is the point 0, 0, okay? The point 0, 0. Because when you have coordinates, or let me put it that way, if you have the axis, the x and the y, like this, the origin is this point, here 0, 0 point. Okay, it means what? It means when you work with it, you're going to use the 0, 0 point. So we're going to remove these. So the origin point will be 0, 0, like this, comma 0. Okay, that's the origin. So the line from the origin, this point, is parallel to the line from the origin to this point. It means the origin point اللي هي الاكس والواي هذه نسموها اكس وواي. تمام؟ هنستخدمها مره مع هذه نطلع الجريدينت، ومره نستخدمها مع هذه ونطلع الجريدينت. So here I'm gonna call this here. I'm gonna call this x1, y1. Okay, y1 here, and then I'm gonna work with this point. I'm gonna call it x2, y2 here, x2, y2. And I'm gonna find the gradient on top, وبعدين I'm gonna find the gradient in the bottom. Okay, so I'm gonna split this كيف ما قلنا نبغى نأكد انهم parallel. If they have the same gradient, it means they're parallel. Now I'm gonna put a line here. I'm gonna work with the first point here. هتقعد مع الاوريجن، هندير الاوريجن وحدها اللي هي x1 y1 تحتها البوينت اللي هي الاوريجن نسموها 0 0 0 0. البوينت الاخرى اللي هي x2 y2 هتكون x2 y2 هتكون here 3 and 4p. 3 and 4p. Okay, so 3 comma 4p. Okay, that's the first point. So we're gonna act like this, copy, we're gonna put it here, paste, but we're gonna change these to this point اللي هي b و 3. تمام؟ هتجد هذه b وهذه 3. So we're gonna find the gradient between these two بعدين between these two. If we have the same gradient, it means it's parallel. Okay, good. Now we're gonna follow the rule اللي هي شنو؟ اللي هي m equals كما قلنا difference of y's اللي هي y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. تمام. That's the rule that we're gonna use. line here. خلاص هنشتغل بالقاعدة هذه اللي هي الفورمولا اللي عندنا of gradient. Now we're gonna do it here between these two. خلاص بما ان هذين zeros هتجد easy. اوكي لان هي minusing فهتكون m equals هيكون عندي اول حاجه y2 minus y1 هذه ال y2 اللي هي 4b تجد 4b minus y1 اللي هي كم؟ اللي هي 0 over x2 اللي هي 3 minus x1 اللي هي 0 minus 0. تمام. Good. Now we have this. Let's make it as a fraction. معناها هيجد عندي كم؟ هيجد عندي الجريدينت equal هذه 4b على 3 4b over 3. تمام. They are parallel. They said in the question it is parallel, but you have to find the value of b. That's the idea. تمام. خلاص. Value of b if they are parallel it means both gradients are the same. تمام. معناها both gradients are the same. معناها حناخذ الجريدينت هذا الاول تو نطلع الجريدينت هذا باش نشتغل به حتى هو because they have the same gradient it means I'm gonna solve them using the same gradient. تمام. So I'm gonna make it like this. I'm gonna put the last part down. Okay. Now I'm gonna find the gradient here. Same idea. I'm gonna m equals y2 اللي هي 3 minus 0 اللي هي y1 على x2 اللي هي b minus x1 اللي هي 0. It means what? Same idea. عندي fraction line معناها 3 هذه تقعد 3 وهذه تقعد b معناها my gradient is 3 over b هيكون 3 gradient equals 3 over b. تمام. Good. Now after finding these gradients here I'm gonna use them to find the value of b. How is that? لأني أنا عارف إن parallel it means both gradients are the same. It means this gradient is equal to this gradient. معناها حناخذ ندير في equation إن 4b over 3 equals 3 over b. So I'm gonna use this method here. I know they are equal, so I'm gonna put them next to each other like this. So equal to 3 over b. Equal to 3 over b. تمام. Good. تو درت equation من ال gradients هذينا. Now I'm gonna do what? I'm gonna cross multiply like this, or I'm gonna take yes, easier to cross multiply. So I'm gonna cross multiply like this. To solve this, I'm gonna cross multiply. So here I have b. I'm gonna multiply it by 4b. هتجد كم؟ هتجد 4b squared. هتجد 4b squared اللي هي power of 2. تمام؟ لأن b times b is power of 2. b power of 2. And then I'm gonna multiply these. So 3 times 3 is gonna be 9. So this one equals 9. Equals 9. تمام؟ Now the 4 is multiplied here, so I'm gonna take it to the other side by dividing. لأن هي مضروبة هنشيلها هنا dividing. So it's gonna be 9 divide 4. Okay, 9 divide 4. So I'm gonna do it like this. 9 divide 4. Okay. So I'm gonna take it ونحولها من هنا. تمام. Then I multiplied. I'm gonna take it by dividing. 9 divide 4. Now, and if b squared equals 9 divide 4, I'm gonna write it again. So b squared, b power of 2 or b squared هتساوي كم؟ 9 divide 4 هتطلع معايا 1.5. I can do it with a calculator. I'll divide it. I take it 9 divide 4 equals 2.25. I'm sorry. 2.25. 2.25. Yes. Okay. 2.25. Now, after finding b squared, I need b. معناها I have to square root both sides. I have to square root both sides. So I'm going to square root this side like this. And I'm going to square root this side. Okay. This one will give me b. Side الأول هيعطيني b. تمام. Equals. I'm going to square root 2.25 now. 2.25. So 2.25 under the square root. Okay. So square root of 2.25 هتطلع 1.5. هتطلع 1.5. تمام. And because I don't know if it's positive or negative, so it's going to be positive, negative 1.5. Some people do it positive and positive 1.5 and or like this, negative 1.5. تمام. And this is the idea of this question. So B here might be 1.5 positive or 1.5 negative. We don't know, but it's one of these answers. And this is how you find B. So first thing we did, we found the gradient between these 2 points, the origin and this point. And then we found the gradient between the origin and the other point. And we know that these gradients are equal, لأنها parallel lines. We used this information to make an equation, and then we cross multiplied. We got 4b squared equals 9. We got 4 to the other side by dividing. 9 divided 4 is going to be 2.25. And then under the square root, b equals positive or negative 1.5. And this is how you answer a question like this. I hope you understood the idea. Now, let's move on to the next question.